religion in the West, certainly not in the United States, but in fact there is. It's scientism. It's the worship of science. It's the belief, and all of us learn this at a young age, that everything around us, everything we experience, can be measured by people in white coats. That's science. If it can't be measured, it's not real. The problem with this religion is that our life, our daily experience, contradicts it. Constantly, all of us are seeing, hearing, tasting, feeling things that can't be measured by science, but it doesn't make them any less real. These are, by definition, supernatural. Supernatural experiences are a feature of everyone's life. And if we're honest, we'll admit that. So what do they mean exactly? Well, Lee Strobel was a reporter. He worked for the Chicago Tribune and left and became a pastor. So he has religious faith, but also a grounding in empiricism, the desire to prove things. He is the perfect person to write the book that he did about the supernatural. That would be dreams, mystical dreams, near-death experiences, miracles, ghosts. We sat down with him to hear just how common these experiences are and what they mean.
And now for my mismatched opening scene, my title screen, my intro. Makes no sense.
Americans believe that. But how do we know? What is the evidence? And that's what I try to get into in the book. How can we be sure through corroborated evidence that indeed there are such things as miracles, as near-death experiences, as deathbed encounters and mystical dreams and things like that?
Yeah, atheism is the leap of imagination.
It is. That's true.
It's hard to be an atheist.
It's very true.
I admire them in a way, though. Feel sorry for them. But anyway, okay. Angels.
Yeah.
What's an angel?
Jason, $10. Make a Tickle Me Tucky doll, and I'll have it make it laugh. Yeah, dude, I could do that, actually. I know exactly how to make a pull string or a push button doll. I've just been waiting for who to make it of. It started with Jordan Peterson, and then he kind of faded out of relevance and just, he just needs help. I think I would make him in like a straitjacket. And then there's Ben Shapiro, right? Could make a little tiny Shapiro doll, but he's also fading in relevance. So now Tickle Me Tucky seems to be the relevant guy here.
Fascinating. Angels.
Well, you just tickle them. Be so weird if you had that in your house. What is this? You guys have a Tucker Carlson fluffy? Wait, what? What? Go ahead and tickle him. Push on his stomach. He's all. Say stop.
Are created by God. Before humankind was created, they are spirit beings.
Strobel,
so
yeah.
they're not omniscient like God is. They're not omnipresent like God is. They don't age because there's no physical body. They don't marry because there's no physical body. They're very intelligent, very smart, and they are, according to the Bible, they are to serve not only God but also His people. And what's interesting,
the Christian Bible,
yeah,
with the Hebrew Old Testament,
yeah,
makes reference to these. Is
yes.
there any culture in the world that doesn't believe in some form of angel?
It's pretty universal. Yeah, it is pretty universal.
Like every culture.
Yeah.
Not like an angel, but like there are some. It might be some Native American, but they still have a concept of like spirit beings, generally. So angel specifically, maybe not.
Just virtually every culture.
Yeah, the Inuit, all the way to the Maya.
That's right. That's right.
Canaanites.
And
yeah.
what's interesting about the Christian interpretation of angels is that it says in the book of Hebrews in the Bible that we should anticipate the possibility that we would encounter an angel. In other words, it says sometimes when you're providing hospitality to someone, unbeknownst to you, it's an angel. And so there's an anticipation that perhaps there could be angelic encounters.
I'm a little hesitant on that interpretation, obviously, because you end up like Sam Shamoon believing that orbs are angels. So this is not the same in Orthodoxy, not to speak too much on it, but generally speaking, you hold off on the assumption. You hold off because humility, because your starting assumption should be, why would I assume I'm holy enough for such an experience? First of all, to take the other approach could lead you into a lot of different positions of pride, where you're running with this experience and you lead with it, as opposed to lead with the praxis, lead with how you live your life, not lead with the experience you once had. It may lead one toward a sort of a purely testimonial approach, which is very modern. Everything's led by testimony. And then the thing happened. And then, as opposed to get your butt into divine liturgy practice. The work's not done. You're just getting started. You know what I mean? So I don't think what he just said is something people should run with.
And so what I try to look at
Don't orb max. Don't be an orb maxer.
in the book are cases in which we have angelic encounters. People actually encounter an angel. I'll give you an example. There was a missionary named John G. Paton, Paton, from Scotland. And he went to an island in the South Pacific to be a Christian missionary. And he and his wife were living in a cottage there. And he's talking about Jesus. Well, the local tribespeople didn't quite like that. And so one day a mob of them came to burn down their house and kill him. So they see this.
It's a good practice to treat everybody as though they were angels. I guess, maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. If someone's acting demonic, I don't think necessarily the first assumption is that's an angel, though. So I don't know if could be universally. Yeah, I think you're using just like generality, like Orthodox Pilgrim, $10. Take MadeByJimbob to the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum in Nashville, downtown, if you have time. If you enjoy bluegrass and old-time country, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds fun. Thank you, Ephraim.
It's mob forming. And
by the way, shout out to Ephraim for yesterday's conversation with that guy. He did a really good job. I got a little short with my temper and my patience with him. And Ephraim maintained a very even keel and was able to break down some of the barriers there. So W's in the chat for Ephraim.
He and his wife are in their house, and what can they do? They start to pray. It's like, God, protect us, help us. They're going to kill us. They're going to burn our house down. What do we do? And they prayed all night long. And by dawn...
Oh, you mean his example of taking someone? Yeah, that makes sense.
The mob began to dissipate. A year later, he led the head of that mob to faith in Jesus Christ. And they're having a...
What are demons?
What are demons? I'm certain I got tickled by one in the evening. It wasn't my wife. I had claw marks on my ribs, and I was giggling into the night, and it scared me. I was really scared, so I turned on my nightlight. Do you have a nightlight, Lee Strobel? Do you have a nightlight? I mean, not every grown man has a nightlight. I have no problem having a nightlight. Evan Lord says, Alexander the Great had such fantastic luck that it makes me believe he had the Greek gods' demons in his corner due to the probabilities of luck. Interesting. I don't know enough about Alexander the Great. Evan Lord.
Demons are fallen.
So I'm not autistic like you.
Angels.
Shout out to Evan Lord.
The Bible is a little bit vague on this, but apparently what happened, there was a...
kind of funny, if I could just pause. This is my totally ignorant read of it.
Yeah.
But when the supernatural host, when all these supernatural beings are referred to in the Bible, there's almost a sense in which...
But I think the biggest problem in our...
This question is Hollywood possessed?
...culture is to deny that there is a demonic realm, pretend like there isn't.
So what are the hallmarks of it? Then?
Well, I think some things you mentioned, we see manifestations of it in ways that defy natural explanations. And I think that's probably the...
52 minutes, 18 to go, y'all. Let's hit that goal. Send old Jimbob to Nashville.
Best way of
Disorder, distraction,
Yeah.
chaos,
Yeah.
violence,
Yeah.
hate, division.
And you think if Satan were smart, which he is, would he go around the country and around the world trying to possess or bother average everyday people? Well, you know what? Much more efficient to go to Hollywood and to influence a bunch of people there who are very influential in, let's say, the entertainment industry. And let's say he encourages them to create films and television shows that are funny and that are creative and that are fun, but there's an underlying message to them, that there's a normalization of immoral activity that makes it normal. Because, you know, when we laugh, it opens us up to various possibilities. When we laugh, our defenses come down. So I'm thinking of a wonderful, funny TV show like Friends. Remember Friends, the TV show? It was on TV for years. Very popular show.
Only American who never saw it, but yeah.
But
I thought they were a bunch of losers who needed to get jobs. It's like a spin-off of Seinfeld. Physical objects are made of universal properties. I don't know about that, but I get what you're saying, that there's an essence to these objects that aren't identical to the matter itself. I think that's what you mean. For Nashville, thank you so much. $5, fuel my fire. Appreciate that. 17 more, y'all.
underlying that is a very ugly sexual ethic that normalizes multiple sexual partners and that sort of thing. The kind of thing that Satan would love to inculcate into American culture. And you know what?
And by Satan, you mean the CIA.
I think it's much more efficient for Satan to influence movie makers and TV makers in Hollywood to create products.
Wait, it sounds a bit anti-Semitic, Lee Strobel. I'm trying to understand what I think you're saying. Are you saying that Satan might have a dedicated group of people that he's targeting?
That
Hurricane Havoc, Jimbob, I'll debate you on evolution. Will you accept? Sure. Anytime, Hurricane Havoc. It's indefensible. It's a joke. So, yeah, let me know. We can do a round. Hey, I will develop a whole volume on this debate. So, you want me to reach out? What's your reach out to Sarah Tomato and say, hey, Jimbob wants to debate evolution again. Go for it. Hurricane Havoc.
feed us stuff that, without us even realizing it, open us up to the occult, open us up to immoral activity, normalize it in ways that, well, if Monica can do that on Friends, I can certainly have sex.
You're a young Earth creationist, but you believe in evolution? Wow. Way to make your position even less accessible to defense.
On the first date with this guy I meet.
God used evolution sometimes? No, evolution doesn't exist, Astara. You can't say God uses evolution if you can't even demonstrate evolution.
So the way I, as a non-theological, ignorant person, try and figure out whether something's good or bad, because it is an open question very often. It's like, is that good or bad? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are the people doing it at P?
You think you could defend it better? Better than who? Anybody? I mean, it's not defendable though. Do you actually believe? Oh, okay. Hurricane Havoc. You don't actually believe in evolution, but you're going to defend it. Is that, I mean, that's fun, but that's not, that could be on like my channel. I want to debate people who actually wholeheartedly believe in the evolution creation myth.
Peace and joyful, happy.
Yeah.
Or are they tormented?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people in Hollywood, a lot of people I like actually, not too many happy people.
Yeah.
Some really tormented people.
It's
like,
true.
For real.
Yeah.
String of wrecked relationships, kids who hate them, trans kids, drug problems. Like there's so much of that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair way to assess?
I think because it is logical that if Satan were to try to influence a culture in a mass way, that
You're saying you have better arguments for young Earth. I don't understand. You're confusing the topic. Did you say I want to defend evolution? Okay, that's a different topic, right, than affirming young Earth. I'm not sure what you're trying to say here, buddy.
That is a logical way that he would do it. And, oh, guess what? By the way, look at all the dysfunction we see in that community. It does seem to match up.
So if evil is acting through you, you are harmed too.
Generally, I would say yes. You're going to be someone who's trying to influence others. You may not realize the full reasons why.
But it destroys you.
Yeah, it does destroy you.
It certainly seems to.
Yeah,
It really seems so.
I think so. Who
Actually, you don't actually believe that, do you?
would, God created us so we could have a relationship with him. So he taught us how we can live in a way that maximizes who we are. And when we stray from that in egregious ways, as many people have and do, there are implications for us.
If I were trying to subvert and destroy, I would go after religious leaders.
Yeah.
I'd have them like molest kids or get freaky sex lives or steal money from the church.
Yes.
And I've always noticed that the leadership of Christian churches.
Bro, I know he's being colloquial, but I really wish Tucker Carlson, who at this point really has no more excuse. He's aware of church history. He knows enough people. He knows enough people who have probably educated him privately on this matter. But this use of the word churches plural is something that anyone who calls themselves Christian really has to deal with. They're going to have to deal with this. I had to deal with it. You all deal with it or dealing with it now. But I get that they have to have a conversation and use the colloquial sense of the general umbrella, the word church, but you can't say, hey, I think all of these churches plural are under demonic attack. Meanwhile, if it's true that God, Christ, the second person, established a singular church, which is now his body, there's no plural body. And if there's a plural body, you'd have to say, well, wouldn't it be the case that people are under some sort of demonic influence to reject God's body, his singular body, not his plural body? Singular body. So it's like to say, oh, do you think all these churches are under demonic attack? You're like, yeah, but it's not what you think it is. They're not a bunch of, quote, good, true churches that are all pluralistic, right? That just have some like general good idea about Christianity, and they're all nice people and they give you donuts and coffee or whatever. That itself is something you got to deal with, that there's a plurality.
In just like numerically, way more likely to be screwed up than the people in the pews.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? You see these sex scandals with pastors and you're like, how many people who are going to church every Sunday have sex lives like that? Probably not very many, but a pretty high percentage of pastors. And I feel like that is outside influence.
Like at teachers too. Teachers who young kids look up to. You can imagine when you were kindergarten.
By the way, the statistics is that teachers, the public sector, the public school, has an astronomically more active child abuse situation, not just sex, but other, than any church you can list. Even the worst quote church you can list, the numbers aren't even close.
In first grade, second grade, you looked up to your teacher.
Not one time.
He's an Episcopalian. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't understand his excuse at this point for it being Episcopalian.
There's not one teacher I liked. Or
Oh,
admired.
really?
Nope.
Oh, I sure did.
I never know. I felt it was an authoritarian situation. I was totally opposed from kindergarten on until I left college. There was not one day where I respected or liked any of them. Not a single one.
That is
I'm
so
serious,
funny.
dude.
That is so funny. I happened to go to public school growing up, and back then in the 50s and 60s, most of the teachers were Christians.
Yeah.
And so I had some wonderful teachers that taught me great lessons about life.
Let's ask you to pause. So one of the miracles, there are at least two in the story you just told.
Yeah.
And one of them is that the pastor felt the call to
42 minutes, y'all. We have 17 left. Let's reach that goal, y'all. Get old Jimbob to Nashville if you want to see me debate Planet Penelson. You gotta ship me over, okay? You gotta send me off in a container, all right?
To go to the marketplace on a Friday, and he obeyed.
Exactly.
Have you had that experience in your life where you just feel like you're being told to do something and you obediently do it?
Yeah. I remember as a new Christian, I felt a really strong urging, I believe it was from God, to empty our bank account and send a anonymous cashier's check to a single woman in our church. Send it anonymously, and to do it on Friday. I don't know why, but it was to do it on Friday. And my wife and I both prayed about it and said, yeah, we're both feeling this. It's odd, but we feel it's legit. So
to empty your bank account and send it to a stranger?
We emptied the bank account.
It's like the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I mean, if I did that, I'd probably ruin the person's life because I'm extremely rich. I mean, I couldn't imagine it. Thank you for the $2. Hurricane Havoc. Hurricane Havoc, obviously someone who wants me to go to Nashville. The rest of you. 100! What the? Holy cow! That is a big super chat! Wow! Thank you so much, whoever that was. If that's whoever that was, W's in the chat. Helping me go to Nashville. I want to take Megan out for wings and honky tonk. Okay? I'm going to get a cowboy hat with an eagle on it. I want cowboy boots and jorts. I need a cutoff shirt. I want to debate in a cutoff shirt. Is that okay with you guys? I'm going to do a cutoff shirt with a, what do you call that thing? Those old ties with just strings. They're not like a real tie. It's a cowboy tie with like a... Anyone know the word for that? Anyway, W's in the chat for that one. That was very generous. That person wants me to go to Nashville for sure. And guess what? It's worth it to me because I'm not set up with a Craig. I might debate one of those guys. But knowing I'm debating Planet Peterson is hopeful. It'll be a good debate. You know what I mean? It won't be like super... No offense to Craig and Mark, but geez, you guys. Have fun in Nashville. Thank you so much.
It's odd, yeah. Well, that is, Leah, that is odd. Yeah, fair.
Hey, it was only $500, but still, for us, that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
So we send this check.
Did you know the woman?
Yeah, we knew her. Yeah, nice woman. She had come to faith. She had actually had a lot of negative experience with Christians growing up, but she ended up coming to faith through a debate on Christianity. We did
bolo. I want to wear a bolo.
In our church between an atheist and a Christian.
Thank you, Timothy Dexter. Adds another $5 to the 36 of the 50. 14 more, y'all.
And
hey, it's Tony. Hey, Tony, you back? You back from your vacay? We got to get moving. This is Tuesday already. Let's do this.
And so I knew who she was and so forth. So on Monday morning, she calls me out of the blue, and she.
I like this guy. I like his attitude. I like this guy.
She's crying. She said, "Lee, I don't know what to do." I said, What's going on?" She said, "My car broke down over the weekend."
Evan Lord, $5. I believe in evolution. Evan, what does the matter with you? And I'm wondering if you would like to debate me on Sarah's channel. After all of this, Evan, are you serious? After all we've been through? You think you came from a turd? You think you came from fishes? After all of this, Evan. Aaron Christopher, $10. Thank you so much. Well, Evan, I'm a little bit confused here because I've debated evolution twice on the channel, and there is a panelist section after the debate, and you didn't come on and try to defend it. What happened? I don't get it. Are you trolling me, Evan?
They say it's going to cost $500.
You think you came from a turd blossom? You came from a fish frog? You came from a land whale? You believe in Jesus Christ, Evan? Do you believe Jesus Christ, the eternally begotten, only Son of God, incarnated as a particular creature? By the way, a creature that, under the evolutionary view, would be a descendant of bestiality. Do you believe that, Evan Lord? Take that name out of your name, sir. Evan, sir.
For me to fix my car. I don't have $500. I'm going to lose my car. I'm going to lose my job because I got to have my car for the job. Would you pray for me that I would get this $500 somehow? And I said, absolutely, I'll pray for me. Let's pray. And sure enough, that afternoon, because I'd mail in Friday, Monday afternoon, she gets this anonymous $500 check. So there's.
Did you ever tell her?
Did you ever check and make sure she didn't snort it all? I don't want to assume the worst from people, but sometimes you want to check up on these people and make sure they're using the money adequately. They're not going to rob you, essentially. I mean, I'm not blaming the victim, but it seems like, sometimes that that people are in bad financial situations because they're practicing poorly, that they have bad practices. Did that ever cross your mind?
No, she doesn't. Not unless she's listening. Maybe she.
Is she still around?
Oh, yeah. She's still. Yeah. She actually quit her nursing job and joined the staff of our church. She used to deliver my mail every day at the church.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess if she's listening now, she'll know. But
Jimmy, fold your arms. I don't know why Tucky's always folding his arms. It's not a good position to be in. It's a defensive position. It reads. It just doesn't. Tell me about your view. Hope I'm not intimidating you or feel like I'm closed off to what you're saying. I'm just visually closed off to what you're saying. I mean, just pay no attention. I just wanted you to see my watch. It's my favorite watch. It tells time.
You've never told her. What year was that?
No. Oh, gosh. This was when I was a new Christian at the church. It was probably 1987, somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah. So.
I don't remember what I was doing in 1987. I think I was in a mosh pit.
Almost 40 years
I love pancakes.
ago.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that does happen, where God influences you.
Self-comforting. Yeah, you don't mind if I hug myself for 2 hours straight, do you?
Do you try to be open?
I do.
That?
I do. When I pray, I try to leave time at the end of the prayer. Say, God, I'm just going to be quiet for a while. If there's anything you want to tell me, anything.
Evan Lord says, I was in university to pursue a cell and molecular biology, biochem, dual major, so I believe in evolution because microevolution is observable. Well, yeah, you're just making a massive jump, bro. It's just like an extrapolation fallacy. In fact, there are just as many people, maybe not just as many, but there is a chunk of people, Evan Lord, that study biology and molecular biology and come to the opposite conclusion. They go, no, I'm going to separate these two. To study microbiology, cellular biology, you're looking at a very specific framework, not just in time, but at a scale. You're looking at a different scale. To say, oh, this thing adapts or a bacteria dies off or a fly or whatever it is you're looking at and you're calling it microbiology, I'm going to go ahead and call that adaptation. And now you don't have this easy jump through a word concept called evolution to go from micro to macro. All you're really saying from the evolutionary view is this: we see small changes at the molecular level, therefore entire universal categories change over time. They branch. But the thing is, for you to hold an evolutionary view, Evan Lord, you'd be posed with the same question I posed Mark. Give me one instance where you tracked a random mutation that produced a trait that resulted in a something eventually becoming a totally new thing over time to something completely different than what it was. And the only thing you could point to is things that remain what they are, but vary. So it's just a massive logical jump. I don't know how you could be this smart, in these other arenas, Evan, but not understand this part. Microevolution or microadaptation at the molecular does not entail macro, that like there's this massive shift. All it's saying, it's a composition fallacy. You're saying what's true of the part, in this case, a part of our biology is micro, must be true of the whole, the macro. It's a fallacy. There's no reason to believe it.
You need to alert me to, any way you want to lead me, I'm just going to be quiet. I'm just going to listen. And I just spend, and normally there's nothing. That day there was $500. But normally I don't feel anything that specific. But it's okay, because what's important is saying, I'm open, God, to anything you want me to do or what you want me to do. I'm open to it. Of course, anything, the Bible says, test the spirits. So if I'm feeling something, I want to test it to make sure it's scriptural, because God's not going to tell me to do, He's not going to go tell me to poison my neighbor. All right. So it's going to be consistent with scripture, but I want to leave myself that opportunity to open myself up and say, God, I'm listening.
Yeah. So I'm so happy and blessed that I'm baptized Orthodox. Because like that mechanism, we can use our intuition to whatever extent we can. But like when you experience something and it feels good, well, it feeling good can't be the test. But then when you say test for scripture, you're now the authority in interpreting your own feelings against scripture. So you're interpreting the experience and you're interpreting what you're reading. And so it's all it's you're the source of it all. And so like, that's the thing is there's no tradition. Like just testing something against scripture, even if I granted an accurate interpretation somehow that I knew you had it, it doesn't test it against anything else. It doesn't test it against the wholeness of the body of Christ and its practice. You know what I mean? It just tells you like, sort of like a little 8-ball response. Like, is this correct? Shh. Oh, okay, it's correct. But it doesn't give you like a fullness. I heard Seamus. Yeah, God can talk to you directly. Yeah, we're not saying what's possible. I heard Seamus. You seem to confuse this a lot every time you're in the chat, I heard. The claim God can talk to you is a different statement than how do you know it's God? Those are two different statements. But to take the position that God is literally speaking to you is I would say you're starting from a very high assumption of yourself. That you're like, that's a pretty high view of oneself.
And just pause for a while and see, is there something? And on that day, there was something. It doesn't happen that often, but every once in a while, something will take place like that.
Amazing. So you, sorry for the cul-de-sac there. You believe there has been an uptick in mystical dreams?
Definitely in the Middle East. In fact, get this, in Cairo, there's often an ad in the newspaper, and the ad says, call this number, and we'll tell you about the man in white you met in your dream last night.
That's sketchy. Where's this call center? I should call him right now. I want to call Cairo. Tell me about the white man in white and who it is. You want to know that? Oh, sorry, Egypt. Sorry, my bad. I don't know why I thought that was India for a second. Yeah, who's the call center? Who's this? Can someone get me that number? I figured out what we can do for the rest of the stream. I'm going to call the call center. 27 minutes, y'all. Quit slacking. 12 more. This is a bit slow on the YouTube side. Bit slow over here. Don't be a freeloader.
Really?
Because there's so many of these. I interviewed for my book, Seeing the Supernatural, I interviewed Tom Doyle, who's the world's leading expert on this. And Tom said, Lee, I could pick up the phone right now, and I could call Syria. I could call Iraq. I could call Iran. And I'll give you 5 more stories. They are so common. I'll give you one from my church in Houston, Texas. So I'm part of a church. I live part-time in Houston, part of a church there. I used to be on the staff. And there was a woman who was born in the Middle East in a closed country where you can't share the gospel legally. And she had a dream when she was about 16 years old.
Is she from Israel?
And she said it was unlike any dream I ever had because it was like a projector was projecting an image of Jesus. And it influenced.
Oh, this should be good.
But what?
Look, this is good. This section's called the gift of speaking in tongues. Now, can we all predict how this is going to go? Thank you so much, Ogden. $10. Thank you so much. 11 more.
What about glossolalia? What about speaking in tongues?
Yeah, that is a spiritual gift. There are Christians who believe that those gifts have ended with the apostolic age. And
No, not even ended. No, the question isn't whether or not God's gifts end. The question is, what is it you're referring to as a speaking in tongues? Now, I was raised in a place where that was happening. Those sounds were coming out of a lot of people's mouths, including my mom's. Okay. I didn't know what to reference. I thought, oh, you take it over and you start mumbling stuff. Okay. Checks out. No. The question of what it is being referred to scripturally, tongues, the gift of tongues, it was always discernible. The gift wasn't that gibberish meant something. The gift is that languages that people didn't know could be understood. Not gibberish.
are no longer
John Cassell, well, he just totally lost. Yeah, watch. I'll let him do the whole thing without interrupting, though.
But what about glossolalia? What about speaking in tongues?
Yeah, that is a spiritual gift. There are Christians who believe that those gifts have ended with the apostolic age and are no longer applicable. There are other Christians who believe they are still active in this world. I believe they are still active. Mm-hmm. I've met Christians who speak in other tongues and others who interpret that. So I believe it's a gift that is still
I'm not sure if he knows what it is, because other tongue, as far as a language, the language of the world, the languages of the world, another tongue means there's a language, right? So I'm not. And then he said, I know someone who interpreted it. Well, okay. If he's saying that it's still miraculous today, where there are instances where someone's speaking a language and another person who doesn't understand that specific language can interpret it accurately, sure. But I'm still not sure if he's talking about tongues as the gibberish tongues that we see today. $5, Jack, the guitar god. Thank you so much.
Takes place.
Another congrats and many years. Welcome home, I should say. Jack, who was just recently baptized.
I have not
Jesus Christ is God. 9 more chats. Thank you so much.
That personally, but I have credible people who do and have experienced that. There are other Christians, though, who say, no, that ended with the apostles. So that's one of those side issues theologically that when we get to heaven, we can...
Well, that's not the only positions. If you held a position, no, that ended with the apostles... And another position, is it still here with us and we're still doing it or whatever? The third is what you think is happening isn't gibberish. We're not talking about gibberish nonsense.
Raise our hands and ask God, hey, what about that?
Thank you, Jason, for the goal. Appreciate you, Jason, so much.
That speaking in tongues thing.
Yeah, no, I know that there is a debate.
Lazy Eye might make it international. Yeah, I would say if you think you're close, if you're going to drive, if you're close enough to get there, and you can make it happen financially, I'll be there. I'd love to have a beer with you if you can do it. That would be great. Jason, another 10. Thank you so much. Randy West, did you see Owen Schroyer? I was going to cover that. Thank you, Randy, for reminding me. Jack says thank you again, $5. Welcome, it means a lot. Yeah, it's great. I love seeing this, and it's happening all over. There's so many people in my chat who have been watching for years, watched my entire inquiry, watched my stalled inquiry, watch this whole thing, unfold into finally baptism. And it's just so great to see so many other people. The Bowmans, it's just beautiful. So shout out to Posh too, because it wasn't just like, you know, finding Jay Dyer, which sets you on a certain path, but like Posh, Redneck Posh called in years ago, which completely, like I would say, one of the key people that guided me and helped me toward orthodoxy out of whatever vague thing I was in that he could see from miles away.